Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all the participants. I'm Dr. Siti Sarah. Welcome to the course. So I will continue with the topic of tracheostomy care and decannulation. So we will be starting with tracheostomy care. So for ventilated patient in which mainly pesakit berada di ICU, kita pakai cuff tracheostomy tube. This is because dia nak connect kepada machine kan, ventilation machine, so tak adalah dia akan easily dislodge. And then the care apart from that is we need to do regular gentle suction. Kenapa kena gentle? Is to avoid trauma in which will cause further bleeding. Since mostly patient dekat ICU on anticoagulant, so the risk will be higher. So you should do gentle suctioning. The keyhole dressing surrounding the tracheostoma, kita tukar daily, basically using Flavin dressing or whenever soiled by the secretion lah. So kalau nampak dia soak, basah, either with secretion or sometimes can be because of blood, so you have to change it. It is also advisable untuk kita monitor the cuff pressure using pressure gauge. Ini by anestem lah, dia akan monitor the pressure. The wound suture or STO, kita selalunya akan buat after a week, so that the wound dah bercantum sikit, so dia akan so we did the STO lah, do the STO. So lagi satu, katakanlah patient dah not on ventilator, kita kena deflate the balloon cuff as soon as possible. Why? This is because to avoid necrosis surrounding the area, and then later on can also lead to stenosis. Apart from that, it is also advisable to use humidifier. Yang sebelah kiri ni adalah gambar patient dekat ICU. So kita nampak dia pakai tracheostomy tube, cuff tracheostomy tube connected to the ventilator, and this is the cuff pressure monitoring ataupun manometer lah. Usually dia punya pressure, acceptable pressure is around 20 to 25 mm mercury. Daripada gambar ni kita boleh nampak kenapa kita perlu buat regular suction. So you can see that the mucus is building up dekat dalam tube, so that's why you need to do this suctioning regularly. So once the mucus is clear up, is improve the ventilation. Okay, yang ini ialah untuk non-ventilated patient. Maksudnya patient tu maybe electively di tracheostomy ke, so kita kena deflate the usually kita pakai, initially memang akan pakai cuff, so the tube should be deflated after 24 hours, because initial period we want to avoid like macam bleeding ke, so akan menyebabkan aspiration to the patient lah. So after that kita akan advise to change to the non-cuff tube. However, this is depend on the situation of the patient lah, or depend on the cases. Apart from that, as mentioned earlier, required regular gentle suction, and then the keyhole dressing kita kena tukar daily. Kalau baru buat tu with Flavin or after nampak wound dah cantik, there's no sign of infection, then maybe you just use gauze lah, dry gauze surrounding the tracheostoma. And then the STO kita buat after a week, and then it is advisable to use the humidifier, because this help to reduce the what we call as secretion, and then help to humidify the air, so patient tak adalah rasa macam kering macam tu. And then for non-ventilated patient juga, kita can resume the feeding 6 hours post-op if dia tak ada risk of aspiration lah. Okay, ini adalah gambar humidifier, whereby yang ni ada yang guna dekat ICU, ada yang guna juga untuk non-cuff tracheostomy tube. This humidifier membolehkan kita rasa macam air tu like normal air yang kita breathe in through the nose. Kalau tak, kita akan rasa dia macam dry, So and sometimes and it also can irritate, rasa irritate kita punya trachea, and then of course will produce a lot of mucus lah. Okay, bila kita nak change the tracheostomy tube? So usually patient yang dekat ICU and then dah send kat ward, kita akan first change of the tube usually by the ENT team lah, preferably lepas 2 minggu lah, usually at 2 weeks time, to single ataupun double lumen. Single atau double lumen ni depends pada condition patient, whether still on ventilator or not, whether ada risk of aspiration ke tak lah. Kalau patient tu kita dah change to single lumen, so after that the patient tu memerlukan 2 weekly change. Okay, kalau untuk double lumen dia longer lah, sebab dia easy sikit, senang sikit nak jaga dia. So the tube kita required to change around every 6 monthly lah. However, kalau kita suspect the tube is blocked, kita kena change immediately, tak boleh tunggu-tunggu. Kita dah buat lah bubur nap saline, dah bagi nap saline and then sodium bicarb, still the tube is still we suspecting blocked, so we have to change it immediately. So preparation for tracheostomy tube change. So you need instrument that yang ni dekat ward basically. So you need suction machine with catheter, if possible to get the trachea dilator, especially baru yang first change lah. You need to have the same size of the tracheostomy and one size smaller. Why you need to stand by one size smaller is because there's possibility that during the period, the 2 weeks period tu mungkin dah develop granulation tissue ke, ada infection ke surrounding the tracheostoma, so you need to stand by one size smaller. And then apart from that, perlukan tali to tie the tube, and then gauze untuk keyhole dressing, and then don't forget water-based lubricant jelly, KY jelly, and then apart from that, protective gear, apron, glove and scissor. So sebaik-baiknya kita buat tracheostomy tube change ni with assistant. Jarang lah buat seorang, kan this not a one man show. Okay, so another thing that kita kena ada dekat ward is emergency tracheostomy nursing box. Usually untuk setiap patient tu, di mana kita ada barang-barang yang tadi tu dekat bedside patient. So if anything emergency, kita suspecting block ke, so we can change anytime lah. And then the trachea dilator, saya tahu dia susah nak dapat, only ENT je ada, or dekat OT. Tapi kalau boleh, should be ada lah dekat at least one in the ward, or especially in the emergency trolley. Ni gambar yang as mentioned earlier, so ada suction tube, and then kita kena ada lighting, don't forget, and then the lubricant, the tube one size smaller and also the same size. This is trachea dilator, so your protective equipment, and then this shrink, especially kalau ada cuff tube lah, so kena deflate dulu, gauze, saline, and then scissors. So macam mana nak tukar? So prepare dulu barang-barang apa yang ada yang mention earlier tadi. So make sure lighting is good. Kalau tak ada headlight, boleh pakai bedside lamp, torchlight. Make sure dia ada bateri lah. Okay, so protect ourselves, PPE. Then make sure patient in supine position with neck high back stand. So letak shoulder roll lah, so that the trachea will be nearer to the skin. So kalau patient on ventilator, kita kena pre-oxygenate. Okay, and then make sure you do suction before changing, because sometimes bila you dah hyperextend tu, patient akan cough out and then a lot of secretion, so you tak nak lah kena mandi dengan secretion, so that's why you need to do suction first. So kalau patient on cuff tracheostomy tube, so you kena deflate dulu and then untie and then remove the tube. So masuk tube baru, there are 3 ways. Either you can directly tukar, atau kalau macam you tak confident, you can use railroad method, pakai rice tube, which you insert the tube and then railroad using the rice tube, and insert the new one, or trachea dilator lah. Kalau track dia tak well formed, trachea dilator ni it means that you pakai trachea dilator tu so that you can tengok properly the track. So make sure you hold the new tube firmly and then check the patency after that. and then secure the tube with ribbon tie. Make sure at the same time you monitor the vital sign, especially the SpO2. Okay, macam mana nak jaga dekat rumah pula the tube? So kita kena educate patient ataupun penjaga basic macam mana nak jaga the tube. So make sure kena counsel patient and also the caretaker before kita discharge. So make sure the surrounding area tu clean and dry. If possible, ada suction machine, tapi kalau patient on double lumen, you can ask the carer to just bersihkan dia punya inner cannula. And then the stomach care, it depends on the surrounding area. If it is clean, it's okay to do it daily with clean gauze and then saline. So what are things yang at least the carer should have dekat rumah ialah normal saline, purple cup untuk isi air, and then cotton bud swab, and then mirror ni kalau patient boleh buat sendiri lah. And then clean tweezer untuk bersihkan dia punya inner cannula, ni light, and also ribbon untuk tie. So yang belah kiri sekali ni, this is the dressing set, basic dressing set yang should have lah untuk trachea change. So kalau kat rumah lebih kurang yang macam tengah ni lah. And then kalau boleh minta patient beli brush ni dekat any DIY shop ke adalah. So yang ni senang sikit nak bersihkan, especially crusting yang dalam-dalam tu. So make sure you rendam dulu, and then dia dah loosen up, then you can use the brush. So kita dip the cotton swab in normal saline and clean the stomach, or you can use also cotton. Lepas tu tweezer ni untuk clean crust yang dalam tu lah, tapi I think it's a bit difficult. Pakai brush lagi senang sebenarnya. Kalau patient on single lumen, the tube, especially kalau pediatric patient lah, the tube should be changed to weekly or when suspecting block. So dekat dalam pediatric patient memang kita ajar betul-betul before we discharge. And then for double lumen trachea, need to regularly clean the inner cannula. Yang ni pakai brush yang as mentioned earlier. Kalau suspect ada airway difficulty, dah bersihkan or susah nak masukkan because of granulation tissue like in this picture, then you should come to the hospital. Okay, apa itu decannulation? Decannulation ialah weaning off tracheostomy bila tracheostomy tube ni tak perlu lagi dah. Maksudnya kita nak tanggalkan lah, nak cabutkan lah. Okay, tapi we have to meet certain criteria before kita subject patient tu untuk decannulation. Bukan semua patient boleh kita decannulate. So what are the criteria? So mestilah ada good GCS recovery, good bedridden, GCS E1, Vicky, M1 tu memang tak boleh lah kan. So apart from that, airway patency dah ada, tak ada tersuspect stenosis ke apa. Then lung condition dia dah optimize, so tak adalah pneumonia ke apa-apa yang they plan for any surgical intervention later. Then able to cough out patient, patient boleh makan, tak ada aspiration symptoms. Usually kita akan refer SLP juga for assessment before we decannulate, and then medically stable. Ada dua cara untuk decannulate, in which downsizing the tube ataupun spigoting the tube. Okay, kalau usually they will refer to us for ENT team to do assessment first prior kita boleh decannulate lah. So kita akan buat flexible scope, kita tengok dulu SLP assessment whether fit or not. So kalau kita rasa dia fit, kita akan either two ways lah, spigot ataupun kita downsize. So kalau spigot, kita akan advise initially dia buat spigot during office hour, maksudnya siang kat rumah. Kalau dia tolerate usually up until 1 week macam tu, then kita akan spigot 24 hours. So overnight, bila kita takut malam-malam tiba-tiba dia tak boleh nafas, tak ada orang sekeliling dia, tiba-tiba ni pula kan, mati pula kan. So and then we decannulate bila datang kat klinik kita, decannulate usually kat morning lah. And then after we decannulate dah cabut, maksudnya kita kena observe 24 hours. So patient need to be admitted and observed in our ward. And then once dia dah di-cannulate tu, the stoma tu kan lubang kan, so kita cover dengan gauze, and then kita akan monitor lah for 24 hours to see if there is any sign of airway obstruction. So even though dah di-cannulate, we need to have a bedside tracheostomy tube standby bedside, so either the same size or one size smaller. So kita akan advise patient kalau dia batuk ke, untuk apply gentle pressure over the wound, because kita tak nak, kalau boleh try to avoid the secretion banyak sangat pergi kat stoma tu, then akan menyebabkan patutnya dia tertutup, dia takes time lah untuk heal. And then usually kita tak suture pun stoma tu. Selalunya kalau dah cabut tracheal tube tu, dia memang akan cepat contracted and tertutup lah, but the skin will take time. Okay. If later on, usually we wait up until 6 months macam tu still not closing, then baru kita akan buat secondary suturing lah. That's why patient yang dah di-cannulate pun still under follow up kita until like it's totally closed. Kalau downsizing method, usually the tube kita akan tukar one size smaller each day until size 6, 6.5 macam tu, baru kita di-cannulate lah, cabut and observe before discharge. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your kind attention.